Hello everyone, my name is Anthony. I am the coach of the Maine Red Clawitzers, and today I'll be bringing you my draft recap from the Season 1 of the NES, or the National Exhibition Society. To begin my team, I will give you a brief description of my 11 Pokemon and why I decided to pick the Pokemon for the reasons I did. So, jumping into the team, I decided that my first Pokemon, I wanted a wall breaker right off the bat. I could have went with a Stealth Rocker, I could have picked my Mecha too, but I decided there was one Pokemon in particular that I absolutely wanted to have on my team. Something that can mix it up no matter what the situation is, and it can reliably do whatever you need it to do. So with that, I decided that my first round pick would be Splish Splash the Manaphy. Manaphy is capable of pulling off so many things. It can do Tail Glow 3 attacks, it can run bulky with Rain Dance, Rest, fearsome Pokemon with Stab Scald, can even do like a sub-Salad set if I wanted to. And plus the wide variety of moves it has at its disposal outside of Scald, whether you're getting access to Ice Beam, it can Energy Ball, it can Shadow Ball, it can Psychic, Dazzling Gleam. The list goes on and on. It's a great Pokemon to have. I really love mixing up the sets with my Manaphy, because it can just do all sorts of things for a team. And I figured I needed to have something with that versatility right away. And I couldn't pass up putting Manaphy on my team. To complement Manaphy, I knew I needed another Pokemon that appreciates Manaphy's wall-breaking abilities, while at the same time making it easier on my Manaphy to sweep if I needed to do that in some situations. I didn't necessarily go with a Mega in round 2, but there was a Pokemon, a Mega in general, that I really felt as though it complements Manaphy's wall-breaking capabilities very well, and I could have went with something like Mega Sceptile. I could opt to switch it up, but I decided with my Mega pick, I decided to go down the route and pick Mega Gardevoir Lily. Mega Gardevoir is a very, very solid Pokemon. I mean, although it does have that base 100 speed, it's not the fastest Pokemon, same boat as Manaphy. Doesn't have the best defenses with base 65, but Pixelate Hyper Voice is no slouch, coming off base 165 special attack. And given that Stab Psyshock, another good combination there. Has Focus Blast to deal with Steel types, but at the same time, Manaphy and Mega Gardevoir works off each other very nicely, as I can run HP Fire on my Manaphy to deal with said Steel types. I can Scald deals with stuff like Heatran that can take a Focus Blast if need be. And then it also gets a nice variety of utility moves. It gets access to Will-O-Wisp, can Thunder Wave, can Destiny Bond. I really love working Mega Gardevoir in this sort of fashion. It gives me something. It gives me a double wall-breaking core that can feed off of each other if need be, breaking down defensive cores while keeping the pressure on my opponent, whether it be with Thunder Wave or whether they fear Manaphy in one of its many coverage options. So I felt as though the cohesion between those two sounded right, and I had to put Mega Gardevoir on my team. Now, going into my third round pick, I know I needed a late game sweeper, something that really benefits from Mega Gardevoir and Manaphy sweeping and wall breaking out defensive cores. So I looked into tier 2, and I figured get a late game sweeper that basically just comes in and just tries to get a kill on almost anything. So I decided, why not go with Scolipede with my tier 2 pick, Sent-A-Kill. You send it out, you try to get a kill whenever you can. Great Mon, very underrated. Great ability and speed boost, making it a potent late game sweeper. Access to Stab Mecha Horn, Stab Poison Jab. Has good coverage options with moves like Rock Slide, Earthquake, Aqua Tail. And I can basically just run like Adamant Life Orb. Excuse me for one moment. Sorry about that. As I was saying, Scolipede, great late game sweeper, can run Stab Megahorn, Poison Jab, gets a bunch of good coverage options. I can run Toxic Spikes on it if I wanted to, like a Suicide Lead. I can Baton Pass the speed boost to either my Manaphy or my Mega Gardevoir. Basically, just makes it potent and it gives it a good amount of utility all around for any of my teammates, which is greatly appreciated, especially in a sort of league where you have to have something that can definitely come in, continue to break down these defensive cores, and something that can really benefit from the team I'm starting to build around here. So now, moving on to my round 4 pick, I decided I wanted to try to get a sort of Fairy Dragon Steel core going. Something that can feed off of each other. So I was looking at Steel types, and nothing really fit what I wanted as a good definite Steel type Pokemon. So I decided that with my next pick, I wanted something that's not a Steel type that wasn't so predictable and can basically pull off anything I needed to pull off and make it function very well. So with my next pick, I dipped into my 3 points of it, and I decided, why not go Cobalion with Athos here? Cobalion, solid Pokemon. I can run utility with Stealth Rock, Taunt, Volt Switch. I can run it with Swords Dance. I can do Calm Mind. I can do a lot of different things with Cobalion. Has a nice speed base 108 and solid base 129 defense. Also gives me a knockoff absorber and getting a boost with thanks to Justified. Just something that I can just either let it set up rocks, I can taunt things for more slower defensive cores, I can pivot out with Volt Switch to either one of my either Manaphy, Mega Gardevoir, or Scolipede. Just a great jack of all trades mod. Something I really look forward to working into what I want to do with the team as a whole moving forward in the season. Now, as round 5 came about, I was looking through tier 3. I figured all the good tier 3 Pokemon were starting to be picked off early on. Donphan was taken early, Jolteon was gone. And at the same time, I was thinking I did need an electric immunity, but I didn't want I was going to take initially Jolteon, but Jolteon was gone already at the time. I was initially also going to go with Swampert, but at the same time I didn't want 2 water types to double up on my typings just yet. But of course, unfortunately, I ended up doing it anyway with this next Pokemon, which is basically something that can provide me with bulk, but still has the potential to hit back extremely hard, even uninvested, and it can come through whenever it needs to come through. And I'm very happy to have Nidoqueen with this pick, Susume Bachi here. Nidoqueen has that unique poison ground typing, which is only unique to itself and Nidoking. It has good solid bulk. It can run Stealth Rock, so I don't have to run Stealth Rock on Cobalion. I can run Toxic Spikes on Nidoqueen, so I don't have to run it on Scolipede. I can also run Choice Scarf on it as a nice surprise revenge killer. And combine its bulk with Sheer Force Life Orb, or Sheer Force in general, I don't really have to invest much into Nidoqueen. I don't have to sacrifice bulk for power because Sheer Force makes up for it. And again, it gives me another versatile mon here in terms of whether I can bring it Scarf, I can bring it with Rocks, I can bring it Bulky, all sorts of stuff, and it would still have the power to hit back hard and potentially still 2-hit KO some frailer mons in the league. Now, moving on to round 6, I decided, okay, everyone's taking hazard removal. I needed more. I needed hazard removal. I didn't want to draft a defogger because I felt as though that I didn't want to get rid of my own hazards at the same time having to go through all the trouble of setting them back up. So I decided with my 6th pick to go back. I decided to go down to tier 4, look through all the rapid spinners because they were going left and right. So I settled, why not go Hitmontop? My Eddie Gordo here. Hitmontop, nice, solid another utility mod, so to speak. Having rapid spin eases the pressure off my team. My Solar P is already weak to rocks, so getting rid of them is very, very good for me. It does get a great ability in Intimidate, weaken those physical attackers. Can run stab close combat. It gets other coverage options like Stone Edge for flying types. I can run Toxic for bulkier mons. I gets access to Foresight, so I guarantee a rapid spin against Ghost type Pokemon. I can maybe run Technician with Fake Out Mach Punch. I mean, it has a bunch of nice, cool sets I can possibly run on this Hitmontop, and it does support the rest of my team well, considering that hazard removal is very crucial to making your team work in this league. Now, moving on to round 7, I decided at this point I wanted to get a spin blocker. I wanted to get a ghost type, but at the same time I didn't want to overthink things and like go to tier 3. Chandelure was available. There were other ghost types too, but I initially settled on Gourgeist all the way down in tier 5 because nothing else in tier 5 really struck me as fitting my team at this point. So I decided to go down, get some value with Gourgeist. Gourgeist providing me a spin blocker. I don't have to run it as Gourgeist Super, I can run it Gourgeist Small, possibly bring a Choice Scarf set with Trick or Explosion. I can run it physically defensive with Will-O-Wisp to cripple physical attackers, has access to Leech Seed, Synthesis, Stab Seed Bomb, gives you priority with Shadow Sneak as you run Foul Play. Just a great, solid mon to have in general as a bulky spin blocker, which is a very nice thing to have. It is knockoff weak, but at points I could run Cobra Berry. I could run Aqua Berry with just to survive some hits, just in case I needed a last ditch explosion or something along those lines. But it does have that good versatile move pool, and I really wanted a spin block with access to recovery, which is why I didn't want to take like a Chandelure or a Cofagrigus. Pain Split to me wasn't that reliable because you don't get that much health back. So I figured, why not go Gourgeist with something more definite in terms of the recovery department. And now, moving into round 8, I noticed I still didn't have much of a special wall. At the same time, I didn't really have a cleric either. So I'm looking down the line, I'm looking down the list of mons that are remaining, and I'm deciding whether or not I should take something like Aromatisse and from tier 4, but I figured I needed something that's a lot fatter, so to speak. Something that can definitely take a hit and has access to self-recovery, more reliable recovery than Wish. So I decided go back into my free points, pick another good, solid tier 2 Pokemon. So I went with Blissey. Blissey, Eggland's best. Not bad. Anyway, Blissey gives me that solid wall. It can Wish Pass, it can Heal Bell, it can heal itself up with Soft Boil. It is a bit passive at times, which is kind of the reason why a lot of people passed it over. But I felt as though that Blissey gives me some sort of a presence from a special wall, which I needed. It also pairs up very well with Gorgeist, as Gorgeist is immune to Blissy's lone fighting weakness, and Gorgeist can Blissey can sponge any special hits for Gorgeist if need be. And it was a very nice mon to have in general. I mean, its passiveness can be overlooked by the fact that I have a bunch of other wall breakers. I have some stuff that can back it up, and everything on my team can appreciate some wish support now and then. Now, going into round 9, I said earlier that I wanted to have something like a Fairy Dragon Steel Core, and then I realized I don't have a Dragon type. All the good Dragon types are gone: Hydreigon, Salamence, Haxorus, stuff like that. And I needed a Dragon type that can tank a hit and hit back even harder while still having some good defensive capabilities at the same time. So went to my free points again, went down to tier 4, and I decided to pick up Crimson the Druddigon. Druddigon, a very solid Pokemon in general, has access to rocks. Again, easing the pressure off of me to bring Cobalion or Nidoqueen to set up my rocks. Has access to Sheer Force, so I can run Sheer Force, Gunk Shot. Has access to Fire Punch, can Sucker Punch if need be. Has access to Mold Breaker, so it can set up rocks on Magic Bounce users, can Glare Magic Bounce users, can Earthquake Levitators, and even has Rough Skin and go along with Rocky Helmet to punish physical attackers. And it also appreciates the wish support and the cleric support in general that Blissey gives to it, which is very nice for me. It's just going to be the key of trying to keep Druddigon healthy, as long as keeping my other Pokemon that lack recovery healthy, like my Hitmontop, like Cobalion, promoting it defensively, stuff like that. So now, for round 10, I needed a tier 3 Pokemon. There weren't that many Pokemon left to choose from in tier 3. There were some Pokemon that I saw that I could have taken. I could have taken Chestnut for Spikes, but I already had Scolipede if I wanted to really do Spikes, and I don't want 3 fighting types on my team. So I decided with tier 3, why not pick up another solid utility mon with some good bulk. So I decided to pick up Knowledge, the Uxie, with my round 10 pick. Uxie is another Stealth Rock setter, which gives me 5 possible Stealth Rock setters, which is crazy. It also gives me Thunder Wave support. It can Heal Bell. It can U-turn. Complements Cabalion's Volt Switch. It can even pull off Bulky Calm Mind if I really wanted to bring Bulky Calm Mind. And it really just gives me that mixed wall, so to speak, of something that can take a hit and try to provide some support with Thunder Wave, momentum with U-turn. Something I really wanted to complete sort of a slow Volt Switch core, so I can get in my wall breakers like my Manaphy, my Mega Gardevoir, my Solify, get them in scot-free without taking any prior damage. With that, I now move on to my last pick. I had 100 free points left, and there wasn't much in tier 3 to take. I didn't want something like Honchkrow, even though I didn't have a Dark type. I didn't want to take anything from tier 4, as nothing in tier 4 really had anything of use to me at this point. So I decided tier 5 was the way to go. And then I looked at my team, looking at what I needed, and I decided, okay, my Nidoqueen is immune to electric, but at the same time, it's weak to water and ice. So I couldn't really rely on it as a electric immunity as much as I wanted to. So with that, I decided to go to tier 5, and I figured, why not take Lantern with my last pick, Illuminati. Lantern gives me an electric immunity with Volt Absorb. It resists water, resists ice. It's a nice bulky pivot, another Pokemon with access to Volt Switch, can Scald, can Ice Beam, also has access to Heal Bell. can run bulky assault vests, can run bulky choice specs if I wanted to. It can pull off a lot of different. I feel as though Lantern's going to be sort of a wild card for the team, considering I don't necessarily have to bring it, but I feel as though in certain situations it will shine better than I assume it will.